Hello friends, in this presentation I will discuss about protoplasm and plasma membrane. We all know that all living organisms are made up of cells. The plant cell consists of broadly two parts. One is the non-living part and the next is the living part. The non-living part of the plant cell is the cell wall and the living part of the plant cell is the protoplasm. So the word protoplasm comes from the Greek word proto means first and plasma means liquid or fluid. So protoplasm is a semi-fluid substance which possesses all the properties of life. It is transparent, viscous, colloidal solution. According to Huxley, protoplasm is the physical basis of life. Durjardin described protoplasm as sarcode and the name protoplasm was proposed by Purkinje. Von Mohl described protoplasm as an active center for various biological processes which lead to the growth and development of organisms. Now coming to the physical properties of protoplasm. The physical properties of protoplasms are mainly due to its colloidal nature. The protoplasm is a colloid which is composed of a solid or liquid phase and a gel or dispersed phase. So it is a viscous fluid with suspended particles. Protoplasm undergoes transformations from gel to sol or to sol to gel by taking in or losing water. The conversion of gel to sol is called solation and the conversion of sol to gel is called gelation. The interconversion of sol into gel and gel to sol is called phase reversal. Phase reversal is the functional property of protoplasm. It is exhibited as long as protoplasm remains alive. When protoplasm dies, the phase reversal is also lost. The particles of protoplasm move randomly in all directions. This movement is caused by the collision of one particle to the other. This property was discovered by Robert Brown, hence this movement are called as Brownian movement. Protoplasm exhibits Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect is again a property of colloids. When light is focused through protoplasm, the path of the light can be traced. This is called the Tyndall effect. So, protoplasm being colloidal in nature exhibit two physical property that are the Brownian movement and the Tyndall effect. In plant cells, the vacuoles are also present and protoplasm shows streaming movement around these vacuoles. This movement is called as cyclosis. The cyclosis movement can be easily seen in the cells of Hydrilla, Nightella, Cara, staminal hair of Traidekantia and Rio discolor leaf. The specific density of protoplasm is greater than 1. It maintains a pH slightly higher than 7 and shows alkaline properties. Now coming to the chemical properties of protoplasm. Protoplasm is composed of 85 to 90% of water and remaining 10 to 15% is made up of organic and inorganic substances. The organic compounds are the carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acid, lipid, fats, phospholipid. Protein is one of the main constituent which constitutes about 40 to 60% of total dry weight of the protoplasm. Carbohydrates forms 12 to 14% of the dry weight. About 12 to 14% of protoplasm is lipid, which occurs in form of natural fat, fatty acid, fatty oils and steroids. The inorganic substances that are present are the nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, iron, iodine. Now coming to the biological properties, the protoplasm exhibits the biological property. The first biological property exhibited by protoplasm is the irritability. Protoplasm shows response to the external stimuli. So this response to external stimuli is called as irritability. For example, heat, light and other things stimulate the protoplasm to contract. The second biological property exhibited by the protoplasm is the growth. The protoplasmic mass increases, due to which the cell divides. When cell divides, the organism grows. The next biological property is the metabolism. Protoplasm is the center for a number of biochemical reactions. Both anabolism, that is the synthetic process, and the catabolism, that is the destructive process, occur in the protoplasm. When heated up to 60 degrees centigrade, protoplasm coagulates and dies. Electric shock, strong acid, alcohol, toxins also cause coagulation and death of the protoplasm. Protoplasm consists of the cytoplasm and nucleus, and it is externally bounded by cell membrane or the plasma membrane. So now we will discuss about the plasma membrane. The cell has a different internal milieu from that of its external environment. This difference is maintained throughout the life of the cell by the thin surface membrane, the plasma membrane or the plasma lemma. It controls the entrance and the exit of molecules and ions. The limiting membrane of the cell organelles like Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum, nuclear membrane, etc. is known as cell membrane. The cell membrane and plasma membrane are collectively known as biological membranes. Cell membrane may be defined as the membranes that serve as boundary of cytoplasm or the cell organelles, exert selectively influence on molecules and ions entering or leaving the cell or the organelles, helping in controlling the intracellular milieu and influence the cell or the organelle behavior. In some eukaryotic cells, the different membrane system make up as much as 80% of the total dry cell mass. The membranes serves not only as barriers separating the aqueous compartment with the different solute composition, but also as the structural base to which certain enzymes and transport systems are firmly bound. Now coming to the composition of the membrane, the cell membrane mainly consists of proteins and lipids, and which are collectively called as the lipoproteins. In certain cases, polysaccharides, sialic acid, RNA and DNA have also been found. The ratio of protein to lipid varies from 1:0.8 to 1:4, and it depends on the type of membrane, type of cell and the type of organism. All chemical components are held together in a thin film like pliable sheet of about 35 Armstrong thickness in three concentric layers. The middle layer is about 35 Armstrong and the outer layer on either side are 20 Armstrong thick, making the thickness of the plasma membrane to around 75 Armstrong units. The amount of lipid found in the membrane varies from 30 to 70% of total dry matter of cell membrane. The most common lipid found in membranes are phospholipids, glycolipids, and sterols. All of them are amphipathic, that is, they have both hydrophilic and the hydrophobic centers. Portions with a molecule. Hydrophilic means water loving portion and hydrophobic means water repelling portions. So the lipids present in plasma membrane are amphipathic, that is, they have both hydrophilic and hydrophobic portions. The major portion of membrane phospholipid is represented by phosphodiclylcholine and sphygmomyelin. Glycolipids contain a sugar, glucose or galactose in addition to fatty acids. The example of sterols are the cholesterol present in animal tissue, phytosterols present in plant cells, and ergosterol present in ergot and yeast. Now coming to the proteins, the protein represent the main component of most biological membranes. They play an important role not only in the structure of membrane but also as carriers or channels serving for transport. They may be also involved in regulatory or ligand recognition properties. Numerous enzymes, antigens, and various kinds of receptor molecules are present in plasma membrane. The different types of proteins present in membranes are: first, the structural proteins that form the backbone of the membrane and are strongly lipophilic in nature. The second type of proteins are the membrane proteins, the second type of the proteins are the functional proteins like enzymes that catalyze several physiological reactions. Example, glucose 6-phosphatase found in the membranes of endoplasmic reticulum and the cytochrome oxidate present in the mitochondria. The third type of the protein are the carrier proteins that bring about the diffusion of substances across the membrane. The proteins present in plasma membrane are further differentiated into integral or intrinsic proteins, which make up to 70% or more of the total membrane protein. They are very tightly bound to the lipid portion and can be removed only by drastic procedures for isolation. The intrinsic proteins are highly insoluble in water solutions and are associated with lipids. These proteins may be attached to oligosaccharides, thus forming glycoproteins. The second type of the proteins are the peripheral or extrinsic proteins. They are loosely attached to the membrane surface and they are free of lipids and easily be removed in soluble form by mild extraction. Now coming to the structure of plasma membrane, are the molecular models of plasma membrane. Since substances soluble in liquid solvents penetrate the plasma membrane easily, in 1902, Overton postulated that plasma membrane is composed of a thin layer of lipid. Then in 1925, Gorter and Grendel made the first proposal that plasma membrane might be a lipid bilayer. So this is a lipid bilayer model which was proposed by Gorter and Grendel. They extracted the lipids from human erythrocytes and concluded that plasma membrane contained a bimolecular layer of lipids or simply a lipid bilayer. They also suggested that the polar groups of each molecular layer are directed towards the outside of the bilayer. Later, it was found that some water-soluble molecules could move across the cell surface, and this resulted in suggestion that plasma membrane was a mosaic of lipid and non-lipid substances. Then in 1935, James Danieli and Hugh Davison suggested the starfish egg membrane, studied the starfish egg membrane and proposed that plasma membrane is made up of two layers of lipid sandwiched between two continuous layers of proteins. According to this model, protein and lipid molecules are electrostatically held together, the former being the positively charged and the later the negatively charged. The lipophilic or hydrophobic tails of fatty acids face one another in the center, and their hydrophilic heads face outwards. They further envision that the polar ends of the lipid molecules are being associated with a monomolecular layer of polar globular proteins. Each protein is found to be a 20 Armstrong unit thick and lipid layers 35 Armstrong thick, making the membrane 75 to 100 Armstrong thick. The model cannot be applied to all membranes as it reveals the definite proportion of lipids and proteins which has not been found true. Moreover, recent studies reveal that proteins are found in form of particles and not as continuous layer. Then came the unit membrane concept proposed by Robertson. This concept was based on the study of myelin sheath of a nerve fiber. Robertson studied the structure of membrane with the help of electron microscope and found that all biological membranes show three layers. So, according to Robertson, the plasma membrane is a trilaminar membrane which consists of two outer electron dense layers separated by a lighter middle layer. This corresponds to two layers of proteins and a middle layer of the phospholipid. The molecular chains of lipids remain parallel to each other, thus forming a bimolecular structure. The two chains remain linked by nonpolar and hydrophobic inner ends of lipid molecules. Van der Waals forces bind the two lipid layers together. The protein layer provides elasticity and mechanical resistance to plasma membrane. The unit membrane model is similar to Danieli-Davison model except that the protein layers at the exterior and interior are different. The outer surface has mucoproteins while the inner surface has unconjugated protein molecules. This shows the asymmetry of protein surfaces on either side of the lipid bilayer. Robertson provided evidence that the membranes of other cell organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi complex have the unit membrane structure. Robertson's unit membrane model was widely approved but remained unsatisfactory because it could not explain the dynamic nature and functional specificity of the membrane. Then, the most satisfactory model of membrane structure was postulated by Singer and Nicholson called the fluid mosaic model. This model postulates that the phospholipids of membranes are arranged in a bilayer to form a fluid, liquid, crystalline matrix or the core. In this bilayer, individual lipid molecules can move laterally, endowing the bilayer with fluidity, flexibility, and a characteristically high electron resistance and relatively impermeability of highly polar molecules. The fluid model postulates that the membrane proteins are globular and disperse in the lipid layer. Thus, the protein would form a mosaic-like structure in a fluid phospholipid bilayer. In a way, these protein molecules resemble the floating icebergs in the sea of lipid. The mosaic is not fixed or static since the proteins are free to diffuse laterally. Some of the proteins are partially embedded in the membrane, penetrating in the lipid layer, that are the integral or the intrinsic protein, and some are superficially attached, that is they are peripheral or extrinsic protein. The important concept of fluid mosaic model can be summarized as that the biological membranes are quasi-fluid structure in which both lipid and integral proteins are able to perform translational movement within the bilayer. The second is that the lipid and integral proteins are disposed in a kind of mosaic arrangement. The fluid mosaic model accounts satisfactorily for many features and properties of biological membranes. It provides for membrane widely different protein content, varying thickness of different types of membranes. It accounts for asymmetry of natural membranes. It accounts for the electrical properties and permeability of membrane. Many cell biologists suggested that membrane might consist of closely packed repeating units which are similar in structure. Hence, in 1953, Hiller and Hoffman suggested that the membranes have a non-laminar pattern consisting of globular subunits known as micelles. Each micelle is about 40 to 70 angstrom in diameter with a lipid core and a hydrophilic shell of polar group. The protein component of member form a monolayer on either side of the plane of lipid micelle. The space between the micelle represent water-filled pores. These pores are 4 angstrom in thick, and these pores are lined partially by polar groups of micelle and partly by the polar groups of associated proteins. So these are the different models that were proposed for the plasma membrane. Now coming to the functions of biological membranes. the membranes are living boundaries of cytoplasm and cellular organelles. They form and continuous and unbroken sheets that divide the living matter into self-sustaining units to perform specialized functions. They act as a selectively permeable membrane, that is, allowing appropriate substances into the cell and removing the inappropriate substances out of the cell. They allow the transport of metabolic essential substances. Membranes have on their outer surface specific protein molecules acting as receptor, which unite with complementary substances of ligands providing external stimuli to the cell. They perform different biological activities in presence of enzymes. Now, coming to the briefing of what we have learned, protoplasm we have known is a transparent viscous colloidal solution, and it is the center for various biological processes. The protoplasm shows the Brownian movement and Tyndall effect, and it is mainly composed of 85 to 90% of water and 10 to 15% of organic and inorganic substances. The protoplasm shows the physical properties like irritability, growth, and metabolism. And then the plasma membrane. So it is a thin surface membrane which is mostly composed of the proteins and lipids or lipoproteins, and it consists of 85 to 90% of water and 10 to 15% of organic and inorganic substances. It controls the entrance and exit of molecules and ions.